And Lydia listened very eagerly. The more she learned, the more she became convinced of the truth of the Christian gospel. It's truly an honor to be your graduation speaker today. As Josephine mentioned, I have so enjoyed getting to know the members of XIE, and I'm so impressed by all the good work that you're doing in the community, including the Lydia Livelihood Ministry and guitar courses. This is a very special program, and all of you graduates are very special too. In the middle of the pandemic, in the middle of your extremely busy lives, you have all managed to spend your precious free time to learn new skills. Over 80 of you have committed your time and energy to learn and practice these new skills. All these basic and advanced guitar, basic sewing and dressmaking, macrame, bead crafting, ribbon folding, food processing, baking, cake decorating. My goodness, it's amazing. I went to the sewing, macrame, bead crafting, and ribbon folding exhibit 3 weeks ago. You are all just so amazing, and I would like to say congratulations. Many of you will know the story of Lydia in the Bible from Acts chapter 16 about the strong, motivated, determined woman for whom the Lydia Livelihood Ministry is named. How many of you know that story of Lydia? Some of you? All of you? What? Okay. I would like to tell the story of Lydia again, to share with you how I see all of you as courageously following in Lydia's footsteps. All right? Who was Lydia? First of all, she was an immigrant. Did you know that? She had left her home in the town of Thyatira, which is located in the northwest of modern Turkey. And she traveled over 240 miles down to the thriving city of Philippi, which was a very important center of trade between Asia and Europe. It's located in what is now modern Greece. She went for her work. Thyatira was known for purple dye. The purple cloth was reserved for use by the rich and powerful. It was very expensive and very rare. Made from the shells of mollusks or seashells deep in the ocean. Very rare and precious. And Lydia was a dealer in this rare, expensive purple cloth. She probably sold the cloth from her home in Thyatira to the wealthy people in Philippi. So the first thing to remember about Lydia is she was an economic migrant. She left her home for her livelihood. Second, Lydia was open-minded and very curious. She was born and raised in a culture that worshipped many different gods and goddesses. But she had become a God-fearer. That's a term they use in the New Testament to describe non-Jewish people who worship the one true God. So she had taken a major step away from her religious upbringing to explore the Jewish faith in the one God, the creator of everything. And she was eager to learn more. when the Apostle Paul sat down on the riverbank and talked with the women who were gathered there. He talked about Jesus, and Lydia listened very eagerly. The more she learned, the more she became convinced of the truth of the Christian gospel. The Bible says, the Lord opened her heart to respond to Paul's message. So Lydia became a believer in the Lord, the first convert to Christianity in Europe. Can you imagine? And she and her whole household became baptized. So that's the second thing to think about Lydia. She was open-minded and she was curious, wanting to learn truth. The third thing about Lydia is that she valued the friendship and the fellowship of women. We first meet Lydia in the Bible when she's by the riverside, outside the city gate, with a group of women who had come together to pray. We don't hear anything about Lydia having a husband or a son, which is what usually in the Bible they talk about women as the wife of or the mother of. But we don't hear anything about any other men in her life. So she must have had to rely on her own initiative and her hard work to become successful. She was successful. Lydia had her own business. She has her own home, which is large enough to bring guests in. And she has the knowledge and the connections that she made as a dealer in purple cloth, all without relying on a man. Very unusual at that time and in that culture. The fact that this very busy woman makes time in her day to meet with other women to pray says a lot about how much she values sisterhood and how much she values prayer. So that's the third thing to remember about Lydia. She values the sisterhood. Fourth, Lydia was generous. After her baptism, she invited Paul and Silas to stay with her for several weeks. That means she was responsible for feeding them, doing their laundry, and helping them with whatever they needed. That's a big responsibility. And she was generous to invite them to her house. Lastly, Lydia was courageous. Paul and Silas were thrown into prison because they were unjustly accused of starting a riot in the city. So they were thrown into prison and beaten. The Bible says, after Paul and Silas came out of prison, they went to Lydia's house, where they met with the brothers and sisters and encouraged them. So, Lydia was not only courageous in inviting these two strange men to her house in the beginning to stay with her. She barely knew them, but she invited them to her home. But she was even more courageous to invite them back after they had been in prison. Can you imagine? They had just been arrested, put into jail, and when they came out, she invited them to stay with her again. This was not only courageous, but it was also radical, unconventional for that time period. For a woman to invite men into her home. She obviously was very courageous, and she listened to God on what she should be doing. Can you see why I think all of you are Lydias? I do. I see all of you as Lydias. Like Lydia leaving her home to move to Philippi, most of you are also economic migrants, leaving your home to come hundreds of miles to this thriving city of Hong Kong for work. Just like Lydia. That's why she left her home for work. You are all open-minded and curious. You're all learning these new skills in the Lydia Livelihood Ministry and guitar courses that will be useful in your life and your work. It is our hope that you, like Lydia, will also be open-minded and curious about the gospel of Jesus Christ, too. You value fellowship and friendship of women. Many, if not most of you, are here without husband or family. It's not easy to move to a new country, to learn a new language, to work long, hard hours with your family so far away. The fact that you have come to join the Lydia Livelihood Ministry and guitar courses not only shows that you are lifelong learners, but also that you value the friendship and fellowship of other women. Here at MIC, the sisters will listen to you. They will try to help you with your problems. They will pray for you and support you in your life here in Hong Kong. There is great strength in sisterhood, and I applaud you for your commitment to each other. You are generous. Many of you work for below the Hong Kong standard minimum wage. But I see you sharing what you have with each other. And what you share is not only material things or money, but you share your experience, your care, your support with each other. You're generous with your food. I love the pico.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Delicious. You're generous with your food. You're generous with your laughter. You're generous with your tears. You're generous with your prayers. You are all generous women. And lastly, like Lydia, you are all courageous. It took great courage to come to Hong Kong. It takes great courage to live every day in the face of unfairness and prejudice. It takes courage to reach out to others when you need help. It takes courage to share your dreams, your hopes, your fears with others. It takes courage to form a community of support with people you don't know. And it takes courage to take a step of faith in Jesus Christ, the one who loves and cares for you, who died to free you from guilt and shame and death, and who will never let you go. You are all courageous. Lydia Livelihood Ministry and Guitar Courses graduates, I salute you. You are truly walking the footsteps of our sister Lydia, walking with grace, determination, and courage on this journey of life and faith. May God bless you all. Congratulations.